But I do want to give a quick testimony. I am a church kid, born and raised, 1994. My mom's going to this church. And she raised me in church, and I always grew up knowing God. Sometimes I say like I didn't believe in God, but really in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, like there has to be a God. If there's a creation, there has to be a creator. If there's a painting, there has to be a painter. And so I always knew that, and so whatever. Like you take that stuff for granted when you're in church, because there's a difference between the church kid and somebody who's not raised in church, and you just take a lot of things for granted. So that's what I did. I took things for granted. I took the church for granted. I took the people in it, pastors, Pastor Olson, and I just took it all for granted. And I didn't think it was worth it. I didn't really think it was real. But I guess I knew it was real, but just like, but is it that real though? Like, can I really not do that? Like, really? Well, and so, no, you can't. You can't smoke, you can't drink. No, that's sin. And I never really just wanted to get it. But finally, our church fellowship holds a boot camp, and again, I put the plug in. If you have teenagers, if you have youth that live in your house, make them go to boot camp. Make them go to boot camp. If they have to do car washes, whatever it takes, send your son, send your daughter to boot camp. I want to make that very black and white because that's where God met me. He met me August 2nd, 2011, 7:23 a.m. I forget who was preaching, but I know Pastor Wilson came up to me and he said, the reason why this is so hard because I just started to cry. It was just the presence of God fell down in that place, and I just started to weep. I didn't know what it was. It was like my mom had given me money, and I was going to spend that money on just weed, and I just was like, what do? I don't want to give it up. I just smoke. And so I'm just battling, like, do I have to? Like, can I do both? No. And so that's why he said it was so hard, because the devil's fighting for you, and so is God. And so I had to make a decision that I was going to serve God, and then I did, and when I did that, there is a supernatural effect that came out where I had a peace and a clarity that I've never had before. And so if you're a visitor, if you're a church kid, if you're an older saint, if you're 5, listen, give your heart to Jesus, because I know that person for me, I've messed up tons of times, and God's not looking for the most perfect person. He's looking for somebody that will get back up every time. It doesn't matter, just get up. So anyways, this is why I just chill and serve God. But I do want to thank every single one of these people that are here. Thank you, Megan, Kayla, Hector, Daniel, appreciate it. Hector has a little bass solo, so let's go!